Down south, hunting is more than a pastime. It's a tradition. Whether you're tucked into a pine thicket for whitetail or chasing hogs through the bottoms, Nosler Ammo offers the kind of reliable, knockdown power that earns respect season after season. Trust the name that's built a reputation on performance. Trust Nosler.
Welcome to the Southern U Podcast, brought to you by Darden Archery on the Okayest Podcast Network, with your co-host Matt Brock, Jeremy Ferguson, and Taylor McMurtry. If you're looking for all things land-related in the Southeast, you came to the right place. Whether it's real estate, habitat, wildlife, or just being outdoors, this is the place for you. Welcome to the Southern U. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Southern U Podcast. You guys, if you're new to the show or been with us for a long time, we're glad you're here either way. If you're new, we talk all things land related here in the Southeast, and that could be just about anything. That's wildlife, that's farming, timber. We even talk some real estate on here. So if you own or lease, manage land in the Southeast, this is the right place you want to be. And I'm joined by the co-host. We finally got all of us. I think it's been a minute since we all finally got together, but I guess the guy in the middle right there, I don't know how this video is going to lay out and how it's going to look to start with, but I got, I don't know if you guys can hear this or not, but we should probably play Brock's intro, huh?
Oh my gosh.
Bring it. Sounds something like this.
Welcome to the show, the man, the myth, the AL deer legend himself, Matt Brock.
Yeah. What's up, Matt?
I'm doing quite well. How are
Look,
you?
y'all, that will never, ever get old to me. Never.
It's already old to me.
No, man, you can't be like that. And of course, we have the other guy at the very end down there. We got his intro as well.
Some call him a real estate broker. Some call him a wildlife biologist. Some simply refer to him as the Ferg. Welcome to the show, the real estate, cattle, and habitat aficionado, Jeremy Ferguson.
What's up, folks?
Woo! So, we got Matt and the Ferg on here, and listen, we say this all the time. I go back to my kind of the church roots of saying that every Sunday is an incredible Sunday. It's like, oh man, it's the best Sunday ever. But the deal is like you're supposed to believe that, right? Like every Sunday is supposed to be a great Sunday to be there, you know? And this is without exception here. We love every episode that we do, every guest we've ever had, all those kind of things are great. But in all honesty, like this one has the biggest implications of any episode that we've done in the 2 years and some change that we've been doing this stuff. Would you guys agree with that?
Probably so.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
Maybe
because you've heard us talk for what seems like eternity. Like I'm tired of talking about it myself, honestly. But you've heard us talk about this big thing that we've been working on and this thing that we've been trying to get off the ground and all this kind of stuff. And today is the day we finally get the opportunity to let the cat out of the bag. And so I'm excited about it. I think Matt and Jeremy are as well. Something that all of us have worked really hard on, and it still is probably in some early developmental stages, but we're finally got it to a point where we can launch it and tell all of you guys about it. So do one of you guys want to do the honors of just kind of initially getting it out there of what it is? Or
Jeremy, you go ahead. I got to let a dog in. Just break. He's going to tear down the back door.
It wouldn't be a podcast if things weren't going haywire.
No, and look, what we are talking about, and I'm sorry, I am fishing burn debris out of my eye still because I've been burning today.
Woohoo!
And today and the next few days is precisely why we've been working on what we've been working on, because we're overworked.
Yep.
We do not have the capacity to handle all the clientele that's been coming our way the last couple of years. So what we've done is created a network of foresters, biologists, drone pilots, burn managers, soon to add a few other specialties. But we've added them into a network that's going to be available to you guys through the Southern U and online through its own channel, be called the Habitat Network.
Right there, baby.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been a long process, but here we are.
Yep. Yeah, and so yeah, it's called the Habitat Network, and just to kind of, I guess, piggyback off of what Jeremy was saying is, our specialty and what we feel like, our experience level is in the Southeast. Not that you guys couldn't go do consults elsewhere, but you guys know this part of the world. That's where you've built and kind of cut your teeth, so to speak. And there's a lot of people, and I am learning this just in the time that we have been doing the podcast. I had no idea how many people out there own property and how much work there is to do to maintain for successful wildlife, habitats and landscapes. I don't know. I guess I was just kind of oblivious to I'm sure there's probably some really wealthy landowners here and there, but apart from that, how many people could there be? How many people across, the state of Alabama, just for example, could there really be that are in need of habitat network? Well, or habitat work. Well, turns out a lot. There's a lot of people, and I guess I was just kind of naive to that.
Yeah, I don't think that any of us knew how big of a demand there was for that.
No, I would agree with that. And it's been awesome. We're having a blast with it and doing all the work, but all the work that we can handle, and we've been passing off to folks like Bray and Cody that you see here on the channel from time to time. And we really wanted to formalize that and start working with other people across the Southeast. So we've added some folks in the network from Arkansas. We've got folks in Georgia, Tennessee, folks that'll be working North Florida, Mississippi. Don't have anybody in Louisiana yet, but we're headed that direction. So.
Yeah, and that's another thing too, is that before we kind of get too deep into what exactly that network's going to look like, the thing that I want to make abundantly clear to you guys who may be listening to this and may see this at a later date, please be patient with us, because this thing is far from complete. It's not a finished project. We are adding professionals to this network every day. And so there is a chance that, depending on where you are in the Southeast, if you were to be looking for somebody in your area, there may or may not be someone in our network that services that area for what you're looking for. But there soon will be. We are adding guys to that as we progress, as we go on. And so if you will just please be patient with us. We are trying to do a couple things. We're trying to make sure that this makes sense both for the professionals that are a part of the network and for the subscribers or the users that would be looking and utilizing their services. So in doing that, we got to be very, very careful and really vet these professionals and make sure that they are who they say they are, that they're going to do what they claim they're going to do. And because we don't want to refer people that are, bad guys. I mean, I don't know any other way of saying that, but they know how to do what they claim to do, and they do it on time, timely manner, and someone's not going to charge you an arm and a leg, and all those sort of things. So It's a very long process of vetting these people and making sure that we got the right people, as a part of this thing. Because if we start out with the wrong people, then that could be detrimental too. So anyway,
That's
I say
right.
all that to say, just be careful. I mean, be careful, be patient, because we are trying to be careful. We're trying to be cautious in who we bring into this thing. So we want you guys to have a very good experience, and we want the professionals to have a good experience as well. So before we kind of jump into some questions and stuff, you guys got anything you want to like throw out there, add before we get off in the weeds?
I don't think so. I think I'm good. My brain is pretty smoked up today.
Literally.
Yeah, I don't know how much good information you're going to get out of either one of us.
No, I'm just realizing that my face is about as red as a baboon's hind end. And
Yeah,
I feel it.
That was funny. Well, yeah, I mean, I guess before we jump in, I know we normally do shout outs. You guys got anybody you want to shout out before we jump in here too? I'm getting
Absolutely. I got to give a shout out to Mr. Cody Green, Uncle Corey, as we call him lovingly, and my nephew Colby. Cody and Colby's tough to keep straight when you're screaming at people. We had a very, very challenging burn today with the wind. As our good friend Mr. John Stiver said, but every day's burn day.
Mhm.
We had a 100-acre stand that we really, really needed some wind to push the fire through because it's very, very moist soil right on the Tennessee River bank. And we had the wind today.
You did.
We worked our end off keeping fire from getting out of where we wanted it and keeping it where it's supposed to be. But had a successful day, successful burn. Those guys were instrumental in helping me get that done. I mean, we were running backpack blowers almost nonstop since we lit the fire this morning, trying to keep flashes down around the roadsides. A lot of dry debris on top of the ground, but standing water. If you guys hadn't ever burned across a duck pond that's standing in water, but the fire goes all the way across it, pretty entertaining.
You can do it with 25-mile-an-hour winds.
Yep. So
man.
Colby was just kind of standing there like, it won't burn across that. I'm like, yeah, just watch.
Just wait.
And, when it got there, she never slowed down.
Yeah.
But yeah, big day today. Appreciate those guys.
For sure. Matt, you got anybody?
Not really, Taylor. Man, I'm just surviving. I'm just here. I'm so glad we can launch this network because I've been working 6 a.m. to 9 or 10 p.m. 6 days a week, sometimes on Sunday, just to try to keep up. And I'm still underwater. So now I have had several folks that have been willing to help and get some things done. So really too many people to shout out. But yeah, we're running and gunning, especially right now during burn season.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, I'll give a quick shout out to Alan Connor. Y'all know he's been on the podcast with us. I think our 4th episode, I think is what it was that we ever did. Alan came on and we were just talking about bow hunting 101. If you guys don't know who Alan is, aside from maybe Dan McCarthy or Levi Morgan, probably one of the most accomplished 3D archers in the world. He's won everything there is to win on the ASA and IBO circuits throughout his career. But I believe, if I'm not mistaken here, I think Alan is 65 years old and he won the ASA in Foley this weekend.
That's crazy. And that's not the senior tour, right?
Well, I think he is shooting senior pro.
Oh, is he shooting senior? Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if he was sneaking back and forth or not.
Depending on the organization, sometimes he has to shoot down, sometimes he has to shoot up, just whatever. But I think ASA he's shot senior pro. But yeah, I mean,
Gotcha.
He says all the time that he's not what he used to be, but I mean, then he goes out there and spanks everybody, you know what I mean, on the first turn of the year. So shout out to Alan, man. Great mentor of mine and somebody I look up to a lot. So congrats to Alan, and appreciate everything that he does for us on the podcast as well. Having said that, we'll jump right in, guys. Let's just start with the problem. What was the problem that you guys, especially, because I say this almost every episode. I'm not a biologist. I'm not a habitat professional by any stretch. I'm just a media guy, and I'm a marketer. So, what problems were you guys seeing in that habitat space that led to kind of just getting the wheels turning on? Hey, well, what would this look like? What if we had a network? What led to that?
Being overwhelmed with how much work we had was a leading aspect to that. But I think all three of us have talked this through a lot. Not the Habitat Network was not something I hatched out on my own, but something similar, very much so. When I left Soterra in 2014 and started working for the department, I had kind of tried to figure out a way to build a consulting network a little bit. When I was, between Soterra and the department, but just didn't have any idea, didn't know the right people, how to expand and grow a network of trusted biologists, foresters to do work, throughout Alabama, throughout the Southeast. And honestly, I just kind of forgot about it. But, when we started this podcast, Taylor, you actually brought it up just from an advertising standpoint for me, from a Tutland sales side of things. Just you pitched doing a podcast. And so the podcast turned into this. And I knew I wasn't smart enough. And you and I didn't have enough brain power between the two of us to do what we need to do. And we beseeched Matt to join up. And he,
I don't know what kind of brain power you got out of me.
But somehow we talked Matt into joining our little fiasco here. And, man, it's taken off from there. But just from the network side of things, I don't want to speak for Matt, but I am a little bit, and let him follow up, is that we've had a lot of big landowners that we've been working for consistently, but we were getting bombarded with NRCS contracts, smaller landowners that were wanting jobs that we just couldn't do, and we didn't know anybody to send them to. Not anybody that we trusted to give them the level of work, care, and expertise that we would expect from somebody to send them that way. And so we really dug in and started researching other consultants. Of course, we knew some, and a lot of them aren't part of the network because they can't handle any more business. So what we've done is gone out and vetted some folks that are, I'm not going to call them new, but they're not as established in the consulting realm as some of the others, and as we are at this point, and trying to bring them, along with us, so that we can send clientele to people that we know and trust are going to do good quality work.
And I've got to go back. I got to go back several years to kind of give the background of how I arrived at where I'm at today in the private sector. Jeremy was actually my supervisor when I worked for DCNR in the private lands program, and we were providing technical assistance to landowners, several times a month, and I saw a tremendous need for consulting. And it didn't just stop at consulting, because, the state biologists, they provided a free service where we would meet with landowners and they would provide us their objectives and we would try to help them achieve those objectives. But our job ended there.
That's right.
We were not able to line them up with contractors to do the work, oversee the work. And my wheels just got to spinning. I'm like, you know what? There is so much demand for that. I think I could do well at it. Been managing public land, in the state of Mississippi. A little bit of background with the NWTF, managed public and private ground with the state of Alabama. I was confident in what I was recommending. Had been doing a lot of management on my own property as well that was highly successful. So, I just took a leap of faith back in February of 2022, and here we are 4 years later, and I've got more business than I can keep up with. So I'm excited about the network. I think we've got some good folks in the network. And I'm like Jeremy, there's so many folks out there willing to give advice and recommendations on habitat, but a lot of them are really geared toward just whitetails. And, we're kind of looking at, habitat management from a broader scale. Yes, we're successful hunters, deer, turkey, you name it. But that's not where it stops. And there's a big difference between a whitetail strategy consultant and a wildlife biologist who is going to help you manage habitat in a way that benefits more species than just one.
Well, and I don't want to interrupt you, but I think that's where we have kind of carved out a niche market, so to speak, is not only are we developing really high quality habitat and recreational properties, but we also have the strategic hunting side of it too. We understand both, and we're able to put those two together. And with even some of the other folks that are in the network that you'll probably never hear much about them because they work for us. Sometime or most of the time, like my business partner RL is going to be in the network, but it's primarily going to be shown under Wildlife Consulting Services, which is our business. But I lean on him on every track that we develop for stand placement, ingress, egress. I mean, because he's just got that bow hunting mind. So I think that's important for us to put out there is this isn't just a we'll set up your habitat, we'll give you management recommendations, but we can set it up for hunting as well, and we have the access to the tree planters, dirt movers, the whole nine. We're not going to hand you a plan and then walk off and expect you to implement it. Now, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But we can set up all of the contractors from dirt work, lake building, logging, spraying, tree planting, the whole nine. There's not really a service in this industry that we're not going to have folks that can handle, and very trusted folks.
And I think that is what's going to set us apart, because if you look at a lot of the consulting that we do, it would be one thing to consult with someone, tell them what they need to do, and then just back away and let them find their own contractors to do whatever the work may be. Thinning a hardwood stand, that's just not something you just do willy-nilly.
Right.
You need somebody overseeing that process. Doing chemical herbicide treatments, prescribed fire. There's strategy and technique to that. It's not just let's just go light up drip torches today and drag some fire across the landscape. And there's oftentimes a disconnect between our recommendations and whoever does the work. Mm-hmm. And this is going to take that out, because a lot of the folks that are going to be in the network are folks that we've done work with. They've done work with us. They know what our expectations are. And we're going to help see that process to completion from the very beginning to completion.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I'll just say this from my perspective. As the podcast started to grow, I noticed that we kept getting, and we still do, as I'm sitting here, as we're recording this podcast, we have had 2 messages come in through Facebook Messenger, or one through Facebook Messenger, one through Instagram. People are constantly asking us, hey, I've got so-and-so, whatever, my grandfather just recently passed and he left 50 acres to me and my siblings, or something like that. And I'm in Central Georgia. I'm in North Tennessee. I would love to figure out what to do with this property to manage it for wildlife. Do you have anybody up here that you would recommend? Is there anybody that would give us a consult or would come and check this place out? What should I do with this? What should I do with that? And it just seemed like it just kept happening. it just kept on and kept on and kept on. And I was sitting here going, man, if this keeps going, like, I don't know how, I don't even count myself in this because I'm not consulting anybody. I'm not giving anybody advice. I'm not, whatever. That's not what I do. But I'm just going, okay, Matt and Jeremy are eventually going to max out and go, I can't do any more, my plate's full. And so I'm like, what would it look like if we had people that we, trusted, people that we knew that, like I said earlier, they have the experience, they've got the background, they know what they're talking about, and they're trustworthy to make good recommendations, all those kind of things. If we had a network of those type people across the whole Southeast, now, we're not having to, stretch yourself so thin to try to meet every need ourselves. You can refer that to someone else. And so, by the way, and I don't think that sounded like a negative, but I want to make sure that if you're listening to this, we want to hear from you. Continue to reach out, continue to ask us questions. That's the whole reason we made, the podcast, and the reason we do it. We started in mid-October on opening day of bow season in Alabama in 2023, and we haven't missed an episode yet. So we made a commitment to do it, and we're excited to hear from any of you guys. So I don't want that to ever sound like you're bothering us or anything like that. But yeah,
no, we've built the business for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of cool that there's that much demand. Like I said earlier. The second question here is kind of building credibility. So why was it important that this wasn't just a random list of names? I think we've talked about that a little, but just kind of expanding on that topic of why do you guys feel like it's so important that we took the time to build up the network to where it is now? And again, it's not finished, it's not complete, but to get a functional network of professionals, it took us almost 2 years, whatever, at least 18 months to get to where we are now. Why do you guys feel like it was so important that we do that?
Well, can I speak on this for just a second, Jeremy?
Absolutely. Have at it.
I think that it is vitally important when you are dealing with someone's investment, their land, and everything on their land that is of value. You've got timber, you've got their food plots, you've got the wildlife itself. I mean, everything holds value, the recreational aspects. You better make dang sure that you know what you're doing when you're involving something of value. Mm-hmm. People place a lot of value on those things. And I have seen many times where folks listened to some consultants on certain things and they ended up with a mess at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And I did not want that to happen to any of us. And I don't want anyone in the network that I'm afraid that may happen to as well. So, for us, it's just more of like a vetting process. It's just vitally important to make sure that who we turn loose and who represents us as an entity is like-minded and has the same experience and skill sets that we hold important.
Yeah. I mean, Matt nailed it. And we're not trying to throw anybody under the bus here.
Absolutely not.
And we are a little bit. I mean, it just is what it is. But we don't, that's not our intent. We're not here to try to put anybody out of business or tell people not to use anybody else. It's just Matt and I and Bray and Cody and a number of these folks that's in the network have all had the same experience we've had, where they go out on a property. We just had it last week. Cody and I went and met with a guy here in North Alabama, and they had a consultant out. And what he was left with was, you need to start a protein feeding program, and you need to work on bedding habitat or bedding areas. And he's 2.5 miles down the road from another client of mine. And that just kind of struck me. I'm like, well, I know where that's at. There shouldn't be any problem with any bedding in any direction you look. Obviously haven't been on the place yet, but go out there and look at the place And number one, a protein program, unless you're in an enclosure and you're worried about, running high deer numbers, then feed programs are going to be pretty important. But if you're managing a free range deer herd, native natural habitat, a feed program should be the last thing you do.
Mm-hmm.
And then the bedding was the recommendation was made for hinge cutting to create some bedding. And 100 of the 300 acres is bedding. It's cedar ridges and rocks on the side of a mountain. There's no lack of bedding cover on the property, and there was no mention of managing habitat. That all of the flat ground in the bottoms, well over 100 of the 300 acres, was natural pine stand stocked at anywhere, depending on where you were standing, 120 to 160 basal area. And there was no mention of thinning any timber, no mention or not even any questions of pine beetle spots, which there were some Ips beetle activity, but luckily he didn't have any southern pine beetle. But there was nothing from a true management standpoint even mentioned in that consult.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I don't know what the guy paid for it. I don't care. But I could not have left that piece of property and that be the two recommendations that I gave him.
And we run into this quite often where you just get these cookie cutter, do some hinge cutting and provide feed. And they may even tell them, work on bedding habitat or work on this, work on that, but they leave them with no plan moving forward on how to actually accomplish it and what they need to do.
That's right.
And, I cannot leave a landowner in that condition. That, I guess with a clear conscience, I couldn't leave that guy and say, hey, this is what you need to do. Now pay me and let me walk away.
Right.
I just feel like the product that we provide is more comprehensive. And if you think about the diets of, no matter what game species you're talking about, you're not going to neglect habitat and throw enough feed on them, whether it's deer, turkey, quail, ducks, you name it. No amount of supplementation is going to replace quality habitat management.
Yeah.
And, that's one reason my business is Habitat First Properties. We tackle habitat limitations first, see what you have and where you want to be, and then I'll help you get there. Then we can worry about everything else.
That's right.
But, and I hope that we're going to provide biologists and foresters with the same mindset. That's the whole idea. Yeah, I mean, we will. That's the point. We're going to.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Well, and I've heard you guys talk about this before as well. And I don't mean this to sound arrogant. I don't mean for this to sound like some kind of flex or anything like that. But there's a difference between guys that have the background that you have and the guys that it just seems like every time you turn around, especially if you're on social media, if you're on Facebook, at all, it's fill in the blank habitat management, fill in the blank whitetail, management, whatever. They just seem that they're popping up all over the place.
Yeah.
And, in the most respectful way I know how to say this, there's guys that, have killed some big deer and
a lot of big deer.
I mean, guys that have killed some stud deer.
Yep.
And have access or own a piece of equipment like a tractor or or something like that. And all of a sudden now they're a habitat specialist.
Mm-hmm.
And look, this is America. It's a free country. If you want to start a business, go start you one. That's fine.
Yeah. And if you provide good work, we'll recommend you. But it's got to
be
good
it's
work.
Not no, it's not like you. Yeah,
like we're not trying to exclude. We're not trying to exclude anyone.
No.
We're trying to provide the best that's out there.
But we all know of the guys who go, I've killed a few deer. I've got a tractor. I'm trying to make a living out of this. You know what I mean? And there's some out there that maybe aren't quite qualified just yet, to do that type stuff. And again, that's not trying to to throw shade or,
Nope.
flex on anybody. It's just the reality of what it is. And to try to make sure that these people are taken care of, the guys that are reaching out, and because there's a whole lot of just kind of, I call it mystery, you know what I mean? Just around habitat management and who do I call? What should I do? I mean, even like you said earlier, they may give you some recommendations of what to do, but then it's like, well, okay, great. Well, you told me to burn. Well, who burns around here? Who should I call? Or you need your timber thinned. Bye. Like, well, okay, well, who do I call to do that? Who's going to, do you know anybody? Like,
and see, we provide the, why are we burning? When are we burning? How often do we burn? We provide an actual plan moving forward and make sure that they stick to that plan. Which I think, like I said, that sets us apart from a lot of the other consulting that's going on out there.
That's right.
I agree. And so I guess just kind of going from, we've talked about the professionals. Now let's talk about the user or the subscriber that would be, kind of like utilizing the services of these professionals. So I want you guys to maybe talk a little bit about who would the ideal or the perfect member for the Habitat Network be from the user's perspective? Is that, somebody that, you got to have 500 acres in your possession, or can it be someone else, that has 30, 40 acres? Is that okay? Does it make sense for someone like that to join and subscribe to the network, or, just let's kind of talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, as long as, and we're not trying to exclude anybody by any stretch, but it's going to make more sense for you to be a landowner on your property and or lease from a private individual that's going to give you some leeway on doing some actual management practices on the ground. Mm-hmm. This thing is not tailored toward, folks on public land. It's not tailored toward hunting clubs and leases, unless you have the autonomy to make land management decisions.
Yeah, and I think that we need to go ahead and just make that distinction, because I think that, as our reach has increased on Facebook and other social media outlets, we take an absolute ton of heat for promoting management of deer into the older age classes. Or, we may say something that just really seems to set folks off. And I don't know how anybody can live a life so irritated to publicly comment on some of that. I mean, like, you can say something about killing 4 and 5 year old deer and people just get irate, and they get on there and start cussing with these rants about I'll kill whatever I want to and I'll do that. Look, listen, we are managing property and land primarily for folks who want to kill older age class deer. If that upsets you, we may not be the group for you.
Oh yeah, but definitely not.
But with that said, if I get a call tonight and somebody says, hey, I own 5,000 acres, we want to kill the piss out of deer, what do we need to do? I'm going to help them kill deer. That's their objective. So, I don't exclude anybody. I do think that the majority of our clients, one thing they all have in common, whether they just want to kill deer, they want to kill mature deer, or whether they just want to watch butterflies, most of the time they're conservationists, and they are truly concerned about managing the habitat to improve wildlife populations, whether it be songbirds, butterflies, squirrels, rabbits, deer, turkey, you name it. I think that with the background and the history and the knowledge that we have managing habitats, we can do that. We're not just focused on white-tailed deer or just eastern wild turkey. We can do it all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and have experience doing it all.
Absolutely.
Back through other portions of our career. Like I not that I don't want to do deer or turkey work. My favorite thing to do is work for quail. Love it. Thinning big pine stands down to a 30 basal area, and promoting that native vegetation come up out there and fire rotation. I mean, that's really where I'd love to operate, but we don't do a lot of it because there's not a lot of people managing for quail up here in my part of the world. There's a few, but not a lot. So, definitely the bulk of our clientele is going to be focused on, as Matt mentioned, mature deer and quality turkeys. But there's folks that we've worked for in the past that, man, they didn't care anything about hunting at all. I've done several jobs up here in North Alabama where all the people wanted to do was to rid their property of invasive species. So they didn't care anything about hunting. I'm great with that. I don't care. So project's a project, especially if it's a fun one.
But you had the expertise and you had the experience to see them through that process. Whereas, just any old Joe Blow habitat or whitetail consultant would not have been able to provide that.
No, and that's right. So I guess the one thing that's going to set us apart from those folks is we're not nearly as niche as they are.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there may be times that some of those folks are working for us where we don't have the time to do property setup.
Mm-hmm. I don't.
No.
I mean, I could, but I don't have the time to meet with clients and tell them, here's how you need to approach your stand.
Yeah.
Here's how you need to do this. Here's where your stands need to be. And the reason why I feel like I'm having a greater impact on conservation and habitat by doing the other things.
Right.
But
that is something that we, RL does that, Cody does that. So it's not like we're leaving a category out. And there'll be more folks that join in on that side of it. So I think that's what's just going to be so different about us is, one, we're not just providing you management plans and walking away. We'll actually do the work and or set you up with the contractors that can do the work. And we're not going to be nearly as niche. We're not just burners. We're not just deer folks. We're not just turkey folks. We're a pretty well-rounded bunch of people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's why it appeals to the guy who has, like you said, 3,000 acres at their dispense, or it's somebody who might have 20 or 30 acres.
Well, I'll give you a case in point. So last week I met with one of our listeners who had 15 acres in North Alabama. And, I've always said I'll consult for anybody, regardless of acres that they own. Guys, I'm going to be honest, it's probably the most huntable 15 acres I've ever been on.
Really? That's cool.
Yeah. I was shocked. I was like, well, when I get there, what can I do to help these people? And then I drove up, and within a few minutes of being out of the truck, I thought, shoot, man, there's a lot that we can do here to make this more attractive to wildlife.
Yeah.
And given their objectives, we're going to be able to accomplish what they want to do on 15 acres.
That's cool, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, just having the opportunity to work with just a wide variety of landowners and even guys who are land managers, maybe they don't own the land, but they, like you said, have a say-so. They have the authority to make some decisions to impact, the changes or manipulate landscapes and things like that. It's pretty cool. You get you may get guys like the property there in Coleman County, where all of us were on that place for a little while and checking out what was going on there. And then you may get, a 15-acre place like that where you're surprised, like Matt said, heck, man, as soon as I pull it up, there's a lot we can do with it. So,
yeah,
that's pretty cool.
And I'm excited, for one part of it to really expand. And that's for us to, to have you, Taylor, available, more in the field and all of these other professional service providers that are within the network, putting together content from all over the Southeast of what we're all doing and being able to showcase that a little bit more.
And I think, that distinction also needs to be made that, and you mentioned it earlier on in the podcast, but, we're primarily focused on managing Southeastern habitats. There's an increasing amount of information for that, but several years ago, everything was geared toward the Midwest and Northeast. And, we're just trying to fill a gap and a void for providing good information to Southeastern landowners.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. Well, and that's a perfect segue into this fourth question here is for the subscriber or the user, not the professional, but what do they gain when they join the network? Because there is a cost associated with it. I don't know if we've talked about that yet, but it's a $45 per year annual cost. And once you pay that, you have access to a few different things, and we're adding to that daily. And so, what do you, in your opinion, what do you think that the end user or the subscribers are going to gain by joining the network?
Well, number one is they get direct access to the A.L. Deer legend, Mr. Matthew Brock.
That's worth $45 right there, man.
Yeah,
they'll probably pay $45 to get out of the network.
But no, seriously, look, part of the network is you get access to us. That don't mean call us at midnight and ask us questions, but you're going to have access through a variety of different media, whether it be private Facebook group. We're going to have monthly calls, whether we do it on Zoom or this new fancy thing Taylor's got set up. I don't even know what Riverside is, but you're going to get access to all of these professional service providers. And look, it is not meant to replace an on-site consult. So folks, please don't treat it as that. But if you've got basic questions that can get you from point A to point B, we'll be happy to answer those and not have to come out. But what we do mean for this to be is for you to be able to gain access to information that will help you make quicker decisions when it comes time to, hey, am I ready for a consultant? Am I ready for a forester? Am I ready for a biologist to be on the ground? And I think that's the big one. It's pretty easy access to us, and not just us. It'll be all the professional service providers.
Matt, you got a take on that?
No, I think he covered it pretty well. I just think it's going to be a great opportunity to be in contact and have the opportunity to work with people who are like-minded. Like I said, since we're vetting all the contractors that provide various services, I mean, these are people that we've worked with. We don't have to question their integrity. We don't have to question their honesty, their work ethic. We don't have to question the job that they do. Most of these folks know what we are expecting. I think that a lot of times there's a disconnect, like I said earlier, when providing a management plan to a landowner. And if you just provide the plan, walk away, and then they hire somebody, say, hey, look, Matt wrote this management plan for me. Can you do this? And Joe Blow off the side of the road says, yeah, I can do that. And then they may end up, being terribly disappointed because the vision that I had moving forward is not the vision that the contractor had. So, having the right people in the network is going to be important, and you have access to that.
That's right.
Yeah, and I mean, I would say above even just having access to the professionals. Jeremy mentioned a private Facebook group that once you join, you'll be added to that, along with all the other subscribers and the professionals as well. So I mean, you can kind of throw in general questions in there and stuff, and have guys that are part of that network to help answer those questions. There's going to be a growing media library where we're going to be putting out video content, whether that be out on burns or cutting timber, planting food plots. I mean, whatever it is that these professionals find themselves doing, they're actually going to be kind of helping supply us with some content. And in turn, the other thing that I'm particularly excited about is that we're actively trying to promote other professionals too. It's not this. I'm afraid that whenever we were getting rolling with this thing, it is people were going to see it and go, "Oh man, they're trying to build themselves up even higher, or even make a big deal out of themselves." And it's the exact opposite. Like these guys can't take on any more work. Like it's just, what I mean? That was never the goal. The goal was, how do we get people that, like Jeremy said, hey, maybe they're new or at least new to the business side of things, could have worked for state agencies or something like that before, but how do we take these professionals and help promote them, help to elevate them and help grow their business, and while meeting the needs of other, other landowners in the South. So that's one thing I'm particularly excited about is being able to do that. But obviously there's going to be blogs that are written by these professionals that are going to be sent out daily, or not daily, weekly. That way you have kind of some fresh perspectives on a plethora of different topics and different things. It could be seasonal type things, or it could be stuff that's just kind of off topic and stuff that maybe things that we're not all thinking of at that particular moment. But there's going to be a whole lot of stuff comes along with that. And then, like I said, we're also adding some new things to this. At some point, we want to get to a place where the subscribers are given access to some discounts on select gear, whether that be management gear, hunting gear, whatever. We're just kind of in the beginning stages of that. We don't have it mapped out, hammered out yet, but there's going to be a whole lot of advantages. The main one just being access to knowledge and access to experts. But there's going to be, like I said, media libraries. There's going to be blogs. There's going to be a lot of reasons to join other than just that. So,
and we're going to be doing, don't know how many, but we're going to be doing a series of in-person events as well on an annual basis. Mm-hmm. Now those won't all just be here in Alabama. They'll be scattered across the Southeast. I don't know. Right now, we're kind of thinking at this point, jumping off at 2 a year, but I kind of see that expanding, because as we've talked about it with other industry professionals that are in industries that kind of parallel ours or are starting to work their way into our industry, are wanting to jump on board and do a lot of different things. And look, this is all strictly educational. All this information that we're trying to throw at you. There is a small cost associated with it, $45 a year, but I feel certain you're going to get your $45 worth in your first conversation. It's not hard to save $45 being able to get access to a registered forester or a certified biologist, or asking a guy if you're going to be able to do a population survey with a drone, and he may say, hey, it's not the right time, and somebody else might have just took you up on it and did it, even though it shouldn't have been done at that particular time. So I feel certain we're going to bring ample value to you guys as the consumer with that pretty small cost there.
Yeah, and I also think too is pretty cool. One of the professionals that's a biologist and a certified burner, he had just on the phone. We're talking to all these people, and he just mentioned how excited he was to be in a network with other professionals too, because he was like, man, I'm starting my business. I mean, I think this guy actually has a master's degree, if I'm not mistaken, knows his stuff. But he was
Mike?
just, Mike.
He got his master's,
And he was like, man, like, I'm just excited to be able to talk with other professionals and just kind of bounce ideas that maybe in a slightly different region of the country, or not, you know what I mean? Like, if he's in deep South Alabama, or if he's in, somebody else is in like North Georgia or something like that, they're talking.
Get them outside, please.
I think Taylor is absolutely oblivious to the poodle fight that's going on behind Brock.
I heard something. I don't know what was going on, but it's just kind of, anyway, what I was getting at is that he was excited about just being in the net with other professionals and being able to kind of bounce ideas off of them as well. So kind of, it's kind of like an iron sharpens iron type thing. So
exactly right.
One thing here, I know we kind of touched on the live access, or live event type stuff that we be doing monthly. I guess, can we just talk a little bit, just briefly? I know we're kind of getting to the end of our episode here, but why did we feel like that was a need to do that? Make that part of what the subscribers would have access to. As Matt is fighting for his life over there.
Is that dogs fighting over a bone, or is that your kids fighting over a bone?
Y'all need to just move on with the conversation.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, from my gosh, now my mind's shot too, and it don't take much. Not today. Taylor, repeat what you just asked, please.
Why was the live,
Yes.
live stream stuff? Why is that such a big deal?
I'm back with you. I mean, this is just my opinion of it. Is I think having some live interaction, just back and forth, fairly consistently keeps folks from getting stale and keeps projects moving forward. And may you lose a lot of context back and forth on social media, emails, and even some phone calls. But having us and other professional service providers and folks that we have worked with or currently working with, all collaborating together, on a monthly basis, I think it's just going to allow people to pick up more fluidly. And, we may not even think that something we've said is very important because it's just something we talk about every day. And we may miss something that one particular landowner that we've been working with may have blown his socks off, and we didn't think anything about it because that's just what we, are kind of used to seeing occur. So I think getting people together, getting some interaction that's not just behind the keyboard. I know it's going to, your computer, but you're able to see and talk, and I think you get a lot more buy-in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I think there's it's like email or text. There's sometimes you lose nuance, and context when you're trying to read a text or read an email, something might come across and you don't quite grasp the full context of what they were saying or meaning. And I think just having, once a month, go live. Let's just, ask questions, man. Let's just talk, what stuff you have going on and what part of the country are you in? And let's just talk about it, and figure out, whatever. I'm looking forward. Honestly, this is kind of just a, I don't know, silly, immature part of it, but I'm looking forward to doing those during deer season because I want to hear everybody's deer stories,
Absolutely.
Talk about, what went into taking that particular buck? How long have you had him on camera? And, did you change things up? Just whatever. I think just hearing that kind of, campfire stories, type things that you hear at deer camp all the time, hearing those from everybody, be pretty cool.
Well, and we, as, professionals, we do so much that I think we take for granted because we're out there doing it every day. And we forget that some of these small things that are taking place are very big to landowners. Mm-hmm. And just being able to, for folks to talk through that and ask questions about, well, why did this happen on my place? So heck, somebody in the group could come up with a question or an answer that, Matt and I hadn't thought of. But all these different service providers too, being all over the Southeast, they're going to be doing a lot of different things. Like out of our little group, I think I'm primarily the only one that does very much waterfowl stuff. But we do a lot of waterfowl up here in the northeast corner of the state. And so, having some folks come in that, know even more than I do about waterfowl management and building impoundments and whatnot, that's coming. So I think it just, you said iron sharpens iron. I think it's just a good way for us to put out the most quality information, but that's all also well-rounded. We're not just going to be, marching down the deer line.
Yep.
For sure. Well, with the last thing here, this was kind of one I threw in at the last minute, but let's do a little vision casting. And where do you guys hope that the Habitat Network is, 3 years, 5 years from now? I mean, what's kind of I won't say the end goal, but what's the intermediate goal maybe for that time frame?
I hope we've got enough service providers to be servicing folks from Texas all the way to the East Coast.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to get there.
We are. The thirst for knowledge from a land management aspect is greater than I've seen it in my entire career, and I don't expect it to slow down anytime soon.
And, this, I guess the most important aspect of any of this to me is just impacting acres for conservation.
That's
I think
it.
it's easy to get caught up sometimes in the fact that, we're getting to make money doing things that we love. But at the end of the day, I chose this career path because of conservation and habitat. And I think that the biggest impact we're going to have is management on private acres. And I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
For
I would
sure.
agree.
I mean, yeah, I'm excited because, there's a handful of projects, we'll just call them that in the creative world, I guess, in the media space, those sort of things where you get a handful of them that are truly like your baby. And I kind of feel like this is one of them for me. I don't know how many you get in the course of your lifetime or your career, but I'm just excited to be a part of it and to try to make this thing be, forward or front facing and communicate what this network exists, why it's here, what we're trying to accomplish, and do that in a way with media and marketing that just tells the whole story. You know what I mean? And is able to do it justice, I guess, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
I'm ready to see how many landowners, it'd just be kind of cool to keep up with how many landowners have been positively impacted by, as a result of someone connected to our network. Would be really cool to keep up with, and put that together in some sort of, video or something like that to put together. So, I'm excited. I think that, we do this thing right and get the right people on board. It can grow the biggest, most trusted network in the Southeast. There won't be anybody else that rivals it. And so I think it would be really, really fun. And as we, again, start to put this out there for the world to see, I would ask listeners, you guys that have been on board and been following us for a while now, please, please, please share the Habitat Network content when you see it. If you see anything that's out there, because we're gonna have a new set of media for this, like new social platforms. So even though we've got however many thousand followers we've got on Facebook and Instagram and that kind of stuff, we're going to essentially start over with a new thing. So we need you guys to, if you're following us, the podcast, please go follow us, on the Habitat Network. You're not going to see just us. That's the biggest thing, is you're not going to just see, Matt, Taylor, Jeremy, maybe Bray, maybe Cody, you know what I mean? You're not going to see those people. You're going to see some of them. You're going to see a lot of other people, a lot of guys that could be in your neck of the woods, maybe not, maybe a different perspective, but that are constantly offering up other things and different things. And so please make sure that you're following, share, subscribe, follow, all the things, because it's going to be really cool. It's going to be bigger than anything that any of us could have done individually. And so I think that's kind of the cool thing about it. But
and I won't say some more about that a little bit, but to me, man, I'm a lover of entrepreneurs, and obviously we're all entrepreneurs. We all own our own business, but obviously there's a cost associated with this. We've talked about it. Don't want to beat the dead horse, but it costs to run a business like this.
Absolutely.
But this business, the Habitat Network, is a business that we hope does two things. Number one, Matt said, impact conservation. that's number one. Okay, or 1A. 1B is to help these entrepreneurs, these other business owners, grow their businesses to a point that they don't have to worry about anything else. They can work on. Hopefully, look, heck, maybe they even get out of the network. They develop so much business.
Right.
But we want them to be successful, and that's 1A, 1B here for this for the Habitat Network. So it's not about us. So we want to make sure that we're promoting those folks and really getting you as the consumer in touch with other like-minded business owners.
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
support those folks by supporting us.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, those being able to do that and help provide, a way of life, for some of these people is pretty cool. I mean, it's a big deal to be able to do that. But that'll pretty much kind of wrap things up. The only thing that I wanted to say to you guys, if you made it this far in the podcast, check out the habitatnetwork.com. That's where you can find the website. If you get signed up, you're going to be able to, like I said, have access to the private Facebook group, monthly live streams, media library that's being built. Again, that's, we're adding to that every day, weekly blogs from these professionals, all those sorts of things. And we're hoping to add to that. We're hoping to bring even more value, even more things for those of you who join it. And I would ask, just again, I know I said it earlier in the beginning of the episode, but please be patient with us. If you happen to log on and you're looking for an expert, you may not see someone in your service area, in your neck of the woods immediately. Just please be patient. We're adding people to that and trying to do that as fast as we can. But I think it's more important that we get it right from the jump and don't just throw people in there that we've not vetted. So
that's right.
We're going to do the best job that we can there. And I am just from the creative media side of things. I want things to be perfect. Like I want things to look good, and I want them to, everybody, the end goal to be the professional to say, gosh, I'm so glad I was a part of this network. It got me so much business and helped me establish myself. That was a really good, investment on my part. And I want the end user, the subscribers, to say, man, I'm so glad that I joined this network. I gained so much knowledge, and I got hooked up with guys who did me right, and did what they said they were going to do.
That's right.
If both of those things happen, I feel like I've done my job, but I'm just looking forward to seeing what this thing turns into. It's been a long time coming, and I know we've all worked hard and tried to spur it along, and it's kind of crazy to even think that it's here. So
I'm so glad. No more sleepless nights about at least getting launched.
Yes. I know. Website.
Now Matt and I can have sleepless nights about how are we going to get all our burning done before.
Yeah, that's already started. I'm already losing sleep over that.
I know. So,
yeah, Cody and I are going to attempt. Of course, big property, big fire breaks, everything set up, but we're leaving out in the morning and going to attempt in the next 2 days to get about 700 acres done with just me and him and maybe one other helper. It's going to be a 48-hour dash of no sleep. Mm-hmm. We're not leaving the property. If we catch a hour or two in the truck, then that'll be good.
Well, this is why the network is important. So we don't do this kind of stuff anymore.
That's it. That's it. It's time for us to send you folks.
That's right.
As service providers business.
Yep. And hey, shameless plug. If you see this shirt, I don't know if y'all can see this or not. It says drip responsibly. He's got one on there. You see the hat. We've got some other merch for the Habitat Network. And if you want to purchase any of that stuff, we'll have it available for pre-order. You can check that out on thesouthernu.com. That is, instead of us building two separate sites to try to build apparel from, go to thesouthernu.com. It has Southern U apparel, and it also will have Habitat Network apparel. And I will say, I'm not bragging on myself, but there is a couple of those Habitat designs that are pretty good. I like them.
Yeah.
a lot. But so check that out. Like I said, we'll be available for pre-order. We'll do that for a couple weeks, and if we have enough orders, we're going to go ahead and get those rolling. But listen, I say this every time, but I cannot believe there are people that look forward to hearing us talk. It's still crazy to me, even 2 years and some change later. But we are so thankful for those of you who have followed along on the podcast and stuck with us. Even if you're new and it's your kind of first couple episodes, first episode, whatever, we're thankful for you, and we're glad that we get a chance to share unique perspectives on things in land in the Southeast. And you guys being the habitat guys and experts is pretty cool. We're thankful for everybody that we get to share knowledge with. So stick with us. The best is yet to come. That's something that I've tried to say a lot lately, is that just the beginning, man. This is, the best is yet to come. The more we develop, the more we build, the more professionals we get, the more things we can offer. There's a couple different service categories that we're going to add to what we already have here. And once we get those in there, we'll pretty well be able to cover just about all the gamut, that Southeast landowners might need. So we appreciate you guys. And Jeremy, Matt, you guys got anything else?
No, we appreciate it. We really do appreciate the growth. But like Taylor mentioned, please like and share this stuff, because we are essentially or not essentially, we are starting over with the Habitat Network. So this 2-year climb to get to where we are, it's kind of daunting to think that we're starting over, with a whole new business. But hopefully you guys can propel this thing forward and help us get the word out and, put these other service providers to work.
Yep. We believe in you. You guys can do it. Man, we're so thankful for you. And guys, again, habitatnetwork.com. You can get registered for $45. If you want merch, check out the southernu.com. You can also find the podcast there, as well as other blogs, and the way to communicate with us is there as well. Other than that, I think that's all we got. And we'll see you guys on the next one.
Peace out.